You got a very interesting email this week. It was so good. We want to read from it. Let's go.
I do. I want you to know it's from one of our viewers, and his pen name is Plebe Montaigne. Montaigne was a very famous essayist. So it's a long letter, and by the way, it's in criticism of Kyle, and it compares him as a leader to Dwight Eisenhower. And as you know, aside from being president, he ran D-Day when we invaded Normandy in France and then kicked the shit out of the Germans. And won.
Yeah, we kicked the shit out of them.
We did, and then won, that part of World War II. So I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I'm going to read significant stuff because I find this letter so bright.
Yeah.
And thank you, Plebe. So he's talking about Eisenhower, Ike, and Kyle. Quote, "A coach must be a leader and a teacher. As a soldier, it is hard not to break out of the paradigm of thinking in terms of past military leaders. One stuck in my mind while I studied international relations at the London School of Economics before I enlisted. Dwight Eisenhower, the last U.S. general to win a war." Remember that, guys. "I read Ethical Realism, which portrayed a humble, responsible, articulate leader. Kyle possesses many positives, but he does not have these traits. He never will. Therefore, a Super Bowl is outside his future." I want to read the adjectives again. Humble, responsible, articulate. Iggy, he doesn't have any of that. Okay. He talks about communication. Eisenhower's Operation Overlord, i.e. D-Day invasion, was the most ambitious amphibious assault in history, but he ensured it was simple. Simple. You were just talking about the big playbook. Ike, when we were trying to win World War II, made it simple. His simple, concise, and inclusive plans clearly stated his intent and allowed subordinate commands freedom of maneuver and command based on battlefield developments. During the operation...
Not a micromanager.
Not a micromanager. I love it. Thank you, Iggy. During the operation, Eisenhower guided subordinate commanders but allowed them to exercise initiative aggressively. D-Day's success had many factors and heroes, but communication can't be understated. Kyle won't even let a quarterback audible. In late, tight games, the essential resource is time. The quarterback needing to over-communicate complicated preparatory commands negates the execution command.
Real quick, in the Super Bowl with the Falcons, they gave up a 25-point lead. Matt Ryan's been like, you know what? I wanted to call my own plays, but one, I can't. And two, Kyle's taking forever to give me his plays. Just want to say that.
Right.
Go ahead.
Unlike Eisenhower.
Unlike Eisenhower.
Let's make it fast and let's make it simple. Okay. Time and simplicity are the trade-offs for all the possible mismatches in his pre-snap motions. When things go wrong, the offense cannot improvise.
It's true.
Then he has a category called humility. The press conference at the season's end made me dread the following season. Post-NFC championship, I understand a bit of defensiveness. What is unacceptable is the total defiance and blame on everyone but himself a week later. Yeah. By the way, and he said that Eisenhower always took the blame. He never put it on anyone else.
Right.
And then the last category is responsibility. Ike knew the cost of war. He understood human beings are the ultimate resource. Ike constantly exercised prudence and compassion during his battlefield command. Any time a soldier died, he demanded to write or at least sign letters of condolence to widows and families. His knowledge of his craft is unimpeachable because he also understood the chessboard's 3D nature to include the human consequence.
I.e., it's not a game. It's not Madden. It's not a game. It's not Risk. These are real people.
That's exactly
it's not a game. Yeah.
What Plebe is saying.
Yeah.
And then he says, does Kyle couple practice with theory? Is this a Madden game to him? So you anticipated that, Iggy.
I mean, how many times a game does he give the ball to Christian McCaffrey like nothing bad's going to happen? Man, come on. What are you talking about? And then when guys do get hurt, what does he say? It's football.
That's football.
That's football. Yeah.
It's like I could have said that's war.
That's war. Sorry,
That's
bud.
war.
Yeah. You know what you signed up for.
Does Kyle design his plays with his players' welfare in mind?
No.
His response to Purdy's responsibility for the fateful play in Philly is quite revealing.
Yep.
While Kyle weirdly has friends on the team, the Cabo clique, how many would follow him in the ultimate moment? His lack of humility, self-responsibility, and difficult communication with others negate this possibility. Anyway, I find that one of the most intriguing letters, thank you, plebe, is one of the most intriguing letters I ever got. I know many of you will disagree with it. Fair enough. I mean, come on. Fair enough. But I wanted you to hear someone who studied military theory, who was in the armed forces, and as Iggy pointed out to me earlier today, football's a war game.
Yeah, it is. That's what they're all sort of mimicking, that type of preparation, that type of culture, that type of chain of command. And Kyle is at the top of the chain of command, and he is not a general at heart. I don't know what you would call him, but he's just not a general at heart. He's not.
You know who he is? He's the general's sidekick.
Yeah, general sidekick. Great sidekick, but needs to be overruled many times per battle. Lowell is a book of knowledge. Great story. Great stories.
Thank you.
Yes, he is. Paolo says, how did KC not get their quarterback sacked in the Super Bowl? Well, they have a killer offensive line. And their coach actually prioritizes protecting his quarterback. And the quarterback is an all-time great. Those three. Great game plan, great offensive line, great quarterback.